In the early hours before dawn, the skies over Yemen lit up like a thunderstorm of steel and flame. U.S. warplanes pierced through the dark, locked onto targets miles inland. With precision-guided bombs and relentless firepower, the United States sent a message, not just to the Houthis, but to every actor watching the Red Sea crisis unfold. The strikes were overwhelming, coordinated, and relentless. In mere hours, missile silos, drone hangars, and command centers lay in ruins. This wasn't just retaliation, it was escalation. The gloves had come off. To understand how we got here, we need to rewind. The Houthis, also known as Ansar Allah, are a Shia Muslim rebel group rooted in Yemen's Zaidi community. They began as a movement resisting marginalization by the central Yemeni government in the early 2000s. But by 2014, they had seized the capital, Sana'a, and forced President Houthi into exile. Backed by Iranian technology, weapons, and training, the Houthis transformed into a formidable regional actor, deploying ballistic missiles, explosive drones, and even armed naval systems. Everything changed in late 2023. As Israel launched operations in Gaza, the Houthis declared their support for Hamas and opened a new front in the Red Sea. They began targeting commercial shipping vessels with missiles and drones, claiming to strike Israeli-linked ships. But in reality, many of these vessels were global carriers, some with no connection to Israel at all. The Bab el-Mandeb Strait, a strategic artery for global trade, suddenly became one of the world's most dangerous shipping lanes. Over 12% of global trade flows through this choke point, and the world could not afford to let it close. In response, the United States launched Operation Prosperity Guardian, a multinational naval task force aimed at protecting commercial ships in the Red Sea. Alongside allies like the UK, France, and Japan, American destroyers began intercepting and shooting down Houthi drones and missiles. But as weeks passed, it became clear that defensive posturing wasn't enough. The Houthis were undeterred. On January 11th, a turning point came. US and UK forces launched direct strikes on Houthi military targets. What followed was a dramatic escalation in regional conflict. By March and April 2025, the United States had launched over 200 airstrikes. The focus was not just tactical, it was strategic. The Pentagon targeted key radar installations, drone depots, anti-ship missile platforms, and weapon storage sites. A devastating blow came on April 8th when U.S. precision munitions struck a compound believed to house senior Houthi leadership. Mahdi al-Mashat, the de facto Houthi president, was reportedly injured. Intelligence chief Abdul Nasser al-Kamali was killed. These were not random strikes. They were calculated decapitation operations aimed at breaking the Houthi command chain. Yet the Houthis didn't back down. They claimed responsibility for firing cruise missiles and drones at the USS Harry S. Truman. While most were intercepted, the attacks signaled one thing: the Houthis were not intimidated. They released propaganda videos of missile launches, declared martyrdom for fallen leaders, and even claimed to shoot down U.S. MQ-9 Reaper drones. Their message to Washington: we will fight on. Iran's influence looms large. For years, the Houthis received weapons, training, and technical support from the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. But as the U.S. air campaign intensified, reports began to surface of Iranian operatives quietly leaving Yemen. Tehran, now deeply engaged in sensitive nuclear negotiations with Western powers, appeared unwilling to risk further confrontation. Analysts suggest Iran is recalibrating, trying to avoid a wider war, even as its proxy faces growing losses. Amid the military maneuvers, the human toll is rising. The Houthi-run health ministry reports over 120 killed and 240 injured in the latest U.S. strikes, many of them civilians. A ceramics factory in the Bani Matar district was struck, leading to widespread condemnation. Human rights organizations have called for an independent inquiry, warning that the cycle of airstrikes and insurgency is trapping Yemen in endless suffering. For civilians already enduring famine, disease, and displacement, the war from above brings new horrors. Reports recently surfaced that the United Arab Emirates was in talks with the U.S. about launching a joint land offensive against the Houthis. The UAE quickly denied it, but the discussion itself reveals how nervous Gulf states have become. Saudi Arabia, which fought the Houthis for years, now watches from the sidelines, having brokered a fragile truce in 2022. But if the Red Sea crisis deepens, Riyadh may once again be pulled back into the fire. Meanwhile, the Pentagon is preparing for sustained operations. The USS Carl Vinson and USS Harry S. Truman now patrol side by side in the Arabian Sea. B-2 bombers have arrived at Diego Garcia. Intelligence reports suggest U.S. Special Forces are deployed nearby, prepared to carry out high-value missions if needed. This isn't just about Yemen anymore. It's about regional deterrence, maritime dominance, and global security. The United States has drawn a bold red line in the sand and crossed it with firepower. The Houthis, battered but defiant, continue to resist. Iran retreats quietly, calculating its next move. And the people of Yemen, caught between geopolitics and missiles, continue to suffer. Whether this campaign restores stability to the Red Sea or plunges the region into a new phase of war remains to be seen. But one thing is certain. The U.S. is no longer just defending ships. It's shaping the future of the Middle East, one airstrike at a time.